Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to tonight's main event of the evening. Promoted by Bill Wheeler and Associates in conjunction with Thomason World Corporation. The officials assigned by the Washington State Athletic Commission at ringside, Chairman Stan Nacarado from Tacoma and Jimmy Rondo from Camano Island. Your chief inspector is Vince Hansen. Your doctor in attendance for the safety of the fighters, Dr. Les Barnett. Your three judges doing all the scoring, Glenn Hamada, Paul Gibbs, and Tom McDonough. Your referee for tonight's main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for Jim Riley. Your timekeeper is Jerry Vandevo, and counting the knockdowns, Mr. Lauren Marshall. And now, my good friends, lock the doors, hide the children. We move up into the heavyweight division. This bout scheduled for 10 rounds or less. Introducing the principals. First, he's boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the shocking pink trunks and weighing in at 230 1/2 pounds. This young man with a professional career, 31 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 22 wins coming by knockout. Originally from Cuba, now living and training in Miami, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome into the Seattle ring, Jose Nino Ribalta. Ribalta and his opponent, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with the black trim and weighing in at 233 1/2 pounds. This young man with a fabulous pro career, 32 wins, only 3 defeats, 22 wins coming by knockout. You know him, he's a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I give you terrible Tim Witherspoon. Witherspoon. 10 rounds for boxing in the heavyweight division. Your main event referee is Jim Riley.
Here at Seattle Showdown 90, Tim Witherspoon in the white trunks, Jose Ribalta in the pink trunks. Here we go with round 1 heavyweights. Witherspoon is rated number 11 in the world by the IBF, number 7 by the WBO, number 6 by the World Boxing Council. Jose Ribalta ranked 9th by the WBC and number 6 by the WBA. Ribalta, 27 years old, out of Miami, Florida, a native of Havana. He came to Miami at an early age and won a lot of Florida championships in the 178-pound division and was ranked as high as number 5 in the country at one time.
You know, terrible Tim Witherspoon out of Philadelphia has a problem getting up for non-big fights. This is not a very big fight for him. You can tell by his belly. He's a little bit overweight, he's a little loose. His fat content is a little bit more than he would like, but tonight he's in up against a top 10 rated heavyweight with a good jab in Jose Ribalta.
There's no question that Ribalta has the tools. There you see a nice lead right by Ribalta. Against the ropes, he's going to be no bargain for Jose, though, tonight.
He's too long and lean to be fighting up against the ropes. He doesn't have the upper body strength that Witherspoon has.
You know, Ribalta has gotten up for some big fights before. He went 10 tough rounds with Mike Tyson. I know, Pedro, you talked to Mike Tyson about that fight.
Mike Tyson said that was his toughest foe thus far before Buster Douglas.
You know, but coming back, Ribalta had life and death with both Mark Young and Steve Zowski, and that's not the kind of performance that a heavyweight contender displays. Against Jeff Sims back on the July 21st of last year, Ribalta was floored twice, managed to win the 10-round decision, but managed to also blow a title opportunity against Tyson at the same time. Don King said, there's no way I can sell this fight.
A very disputed 10-round decision. over Jeff Sims. I thought he was decked twice. He didn't look good that night. In fact, I thought he lost against Mark Young a few years back.
And Ribalta's last fight was on February the 9th, a second-round KO over Jack Johnson. That fight took place in Spain. As far as Witherspoon is concerned, an interesting story, an intriguing story behind Witherspoon, a man who fought under the auspices of Don King early in his career, and indeed, Don King guided him to the title shot against Larry Holmes in May of 1983, where Witherspoon had Holmes in trouble on a couple of occasions before letting Holmes back into it. Larry, of course, won the 12-round decision, but Witherspoon came back to win the heavyweight title, or a version of the heavyweight title, not once but twice, against Greg Page. He won a 12-round decision in March of 1984. He lost that in his first title defense 5 months later against Pinklin Thomas, and later regained it. And in that fight, Witherspoon was supposed to face Tony Tubbs as we start round 2. Tubbs was pulled out of the fight over a money dispute. Bone Crusher Smith, who Witherspoon had already beaten, was inserted into the fight over Witherspoon's objections. Bone Crusher Smith wound up knocking Witherspoon out in 1 round. That fight was in December of 1986. To add insult to injury, Witherspoon tested positive for drugs after the fight with the New York State Athletic Commission. That test was later found to be false, was later found to be inaccurate. So Tim Witherspoon had a lot of lawsuits. He sued the New York State Athletic Commission. He sued the sanctioning body, the WBA. He also sued the commissioner, Jose Torres, I believe, and Don King over the whole series of events that led to him losing the title. And that case is still tied up in litigation, although we understand he has a pretty good case.
He has a pretty good case. His lawyers have told me that they think he's going to win hands down, and that Don King has been putting it off, getting continuouses, this and that, because he knows Don King's the loser in this chase.
But he's become a forgotten man in the heavyweight division at the same time as lesser men have passed over him to get world title shots. And Witherspoon, certainly deserving of a world championship opportunity, has been left languishing, rated, or not even rated by the WBC for a long period of time. Now he is rated in the top 10.
Good right hand by Witherspoon.
7 straight wins for Tim Witherspoon. The last one was on March 19th, a 3rd round technical knockout over Greg Gurrell, that fight being held in Indonesia. And big wins on the comeback trail for Witherspoon include a 1st round KO over Anders Eklund. That was in October of 1989. He floored Eklund with a big right hand, and that is something that Ribalta is going to have to stay away from, because Witherspoon has that big overhand right.
Big overhand right, but the terrible Tim has got to set it up with jabs. You just can't go in there lunging with right hand leads, because Ribalta is a pretty fair defensive fighter. He's holding his hands up high. He's wary of the big right hand of Tim Witherspoon. He's looking for it.
And, you know, by the way, Pedro, in that fight with Bone Crusher Smith, Witherspoon became the first heavyweight champion in history to lose his title in Madison Square Garden. A fact that I found to be very, very surprising, considering all the title fights that have been held in the Garden.
True. You know what people don't, most people understand now that Don King does rule the heavyweight division. That's why terrible Tim Witherspoon, who's suing him, has been blackballed.
In effect, he has been, and then has come under the guidance of new management, driven at 7 straight victories. He's also beaten Mark Wills and Mike Williams within that 7-fight period. Those are 2 guys that are not pushovers. Mark Wills, of course, knocked out Greg Page not long ago. We're in the final 10 seconds of the 2nd round in this heavyweight matchup. Ribalta against the ropes. Let's take a look at 2nd round action, and this is the nemesis for Jose Ribalta, that big right hand from Tim Witherspoon.
Just glanced off the top of Ribalta's head. Lucky for Jose.
We are in round number 3 of the scheduled 10-rounder between top 10 rated heavyweights. Jose Ribalta in the pink trunks, Tim Witherspoon in the white trunks with the black trim.
Part of the controversy involving Tim Witherspoon and Don King, Charles, was that Witherspoon was supposed to receive $1.8 million for a title defense against Frank Bruno over London at Wembley Stadium. He ended up netting $90,000 out of a $1.8 million purse.
I'll tell you what, I've worked as an agent before, and that is even low for an agent's fee.
Witherspoon dictating the pace here, driving forward, trying to whack Ribalta to the body with both hands. You know, we have to remember how how Tyson got Ribalta out of there was with big uppercuts. Tim Witherspoon is not a big uppercut thrower, but Ribalta ducks in, pulls his chin down, takes his eyes off his opponent's hands, leaves himself susceptible to those uppercuts.
And Tyson didn't put Ribalta out with the first knockdown either. Ribalta kept coming. And, you know, before that fight, there was sort of a stigma surrounding Ribalta as being maybe a lethargic fighter, a fighter without a good chin. And he really dispelled all of those thoughts in one fight against a guy who was thought to be indestructible at that time. Ribalta gave Tyson all kinds of problems in that one.
At that point, Mike Tyson was still Iron Mike Tyson. Of course, February 11th this year, he was reduced to aluminum foil by James Buster Douglas.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody, you know, Louis DeCubas is the manager of Ribalta, and he was telling everybody, my guy can give Tyson fits. And nobody believed him because a lot of tall guys had fought Tyson. But Ribalta went in there and hung tough with Tyson for 10 rounds. And would have been the first rematch for Tyson had he not looked so bad against Sims.
You know, the rap on Ribalta in that fight was his chin wasn't that great. He got up from some vicious uppercuts. Oh, God. And then when the referee stopped the fight, I didn't think it was appropriate.
Well, manager DeCubas is very close with his fighter, Jose Ribalta. Just about as close as any manager can be with one of his fighters. And he was a little nervous in the dressing room before this fight, not worried that Ribalta couldn't take care of himself, but knowing that this is the biggest fight of Ribalta's career, because for the first thing, the winner of this fight is going to be in a position to demand a heavyweight title shot. I don't think there's any questioning that. Now,
good rabbit punch by Jose Ribalta there.
Also regarding Ribalta, he's the type of fighter now at this juncture in his career, he's got to take a shot against somebody and look to move up. Final seconds here. In round number 2, we come back for more championship boxing.
Great job putting on the show tonight.
Witherspoon trying to feint a jab.
We begin round 4 here in the heavyweight division. Tim Witherspoon in the white trunks with the black trim, and Ribalta in the pink trunks.
Viking and Witherspoon all of the opening rounds thus far. Each round was a 10-9 round. Good right hand to the body, right below the heart, delivered by Tim Witherspoon to Jose Ribalta. Ribalta trying to beat Witherspoon to the jab, and he seems to have faster hands, but he just can't seem to get off first.
Yeah, Ribalta certainly has all the tools, but you know, he's a guy that hasn't really been able to put it all together as a professional. Coming out of the amateurs, he was as highly touted as any Miami fighter there was. In fact, all the network people were interested in Ribalta after the first few fights of his career. And indeed, he did win his first 10 fights before losing on a 7th round knockout to Ricardo Richardson in February of 1983. He's also lost a decision to Bone Crusher Smith, decision to Marvis Frazier, stopped by Tyson. Those are the 4 losses on Ribalta's record. And Ribalta also boxed to a 10-round draw with Cecil Coffey. Ribalta holding a 1-round knockout victory over Leon Spinks. That was in January of 1987. A fight card in which Spinks pulled out of the show 2 days beforehand, flew all the way from Miami back to Detroit because of some comments made at a press conference, and then flew all the way back the next day to fight Ribalta. And Spinks looked like he didn't have anything in that fight. Went down 3 times in the first round, and Ribalta was the winner.
Not a whole lot of suspense here thus far in this heavyweight matchup with 2 top 10 rated heavyweights. Tim Witherspoon seems to be dictating the pace. He's landing the more, he missed a wild right hand there, but he's dictating the pace, he's landing the more effective punches, and he's being the aggressor.
And Ribalta laying on those ropes. I don't think anything good can come out of that.
No. Ribalta skating off the ropes there, getting back in the center of the ring. That's probably about the best right hand Jose Ribalta can throw. 2 jabs and a beautiful right cross. Tim Witherspoon didn't even blink. Remember how we score a fight, folks. We score it on the 10-point must system.
3 judges from the Washington State Athletic Commission are here. This is sanctioned by the state of Washington. We're coming to the final seconds here in round 4. Jose Ribalta retreating against Tim Witherspoon. Round 6 now, heavyweight action. Jose Ribalta and Tim Witherspoon. 2 top 10 heavyweights meeting each other in sort of a crossroads fight, as the winner can stake a claim to a title opportunity. A little low blow there by Tim.
No warning from the referee. That's about the second or third low blow Witherspoon's connected with.
And a couple of low blows by Ribalta, and then another one by Witherspoon. And Witherspoon getting warned.
A lot of shucking and jiving in that last round. I called the 5th round even. I had Witherspoon winning the first 4.
Witherspoon, not a bad guy. He's a friendly guy. He'll tell you like it is.
What a character.
And yeah, you've got to be on guard when you talk to Tim Witherspoon. He can come up with all kinds of quips that'll send you back to the dictionary sometimes.
Yeah, very spontaneous. Now, that's a bad posture for Jose Ribalta to be in, Chuck. Is that back to the ropes? Throwing ineffective punches to Witherspoon's body. Witherspoon's just leaning in.
You know, with his kind of build, he should be throwing some monster right hands at Witherspoon.
There seems to be a question about the power of Jose Ribalta. I mean, even though he's got a high knockout ratio, he doesn't seem to whack real hard with either hand. There goes Witherspoon trying the uppercut. He caught Ribalta with it. May have bothered him a bit.
I don't know if it's really got Ribalta hurt, but Ribalta better guard against those uppercuts, because one of them's going to get through and it's going to snap his head back.
Two top 10 rated heavyweights going at it here in Seattle, folks.
And
now,
Ribalta may be hurt now.
Now Ribalta's hurt.
Oh, a nice right uppercut by Witherspoon.
Ribalta says, come on, but he's hurt.
And he fires back with a right hand that just missed.
Witherspoon has a knack for turning his head when the punch comes, therefore taking the effect off the blow.
And a nice body shot by Ribalta there. And you could see Tim's tummy was sort of wobbling there.
Well, granted, Tim isn't in the greatest condition in his life. He told me that this morning. But he says he's in good enough shape to knock out Jose Ribalta. We'll see. Ribalta taking a chance, coming with that lead left uppercut, Charles. Oh, you miss with that punch, you get countered with the right hand.
You are very vulnerable, and the cut's getting worse over the eye of Ribalta. Oh, Ribalta's legs rubbery now. He's taking some punishment against the ropes, so we're coming toward the end of the round. Can Ribalta last it out? Yes, he can. Look at it from another angle. There's a good, there was a good uppercut there. But those other punches not so effective. Witherspoon had him in a good position there, although he was running out of time in the round. We're moving toward round 7 here. A heavyweight matchup scheduled for 10 rounds. Tim Witherspoon, now on the right of your screen in the white trunks, black trim. Jose Ribalta in the pink trunks. Charles J. and Pedro Fernandez ringside here at the beautiful Kingdome. It's Seattle Showdown 90.
And so far through 6 rounds, I've got terrible Tim Witherspoon up 60 to 55, Charles.
Jose Ribalta with some catching up to do. What did you have the last round scored?
I came close to scoring at 10-8, but I didn't think that Witherspoon was quite that dominant. So I scored at 10-9 for the X-Time World Heavyweight
Where's the
Championship.
movement here from Ribalta?
Ribalta should be on his bicycle, moving around, using that ring. Jose Ribalta bleeding from above the eye. It looks like he's got a cut on the bridge of the nose also.
And some of his blood just got on me, as a matter of fact.
Tape coming loose on the left glove of Tim Witherspoon. referee spots that, he might jump in and stop this for a second.
They didn't take very good care of the gloves before this matchup, did they?
No, they didn't. I watched both camps putting on their own gloves without anybody from the State Athletic Commission or the other camp watching. Now, we know in the case of Panama Lewis back in 1983 in Madison Square Garden, when he pulled some shady stuff with the gloves. So I think the athletic commissions of Nevada and California are very correct in watching the fighters get laced up and then they tape the gloves closed.
We have a nice, lively crowd here at the Kingdome for Seattle Showdown 90. Nice card being put on tonight by Wheeler and Associates. Bill Wheeler, an interesting man who was able to get a $25 million letter of credit last year to put on a Foreman-Tyson fight in China. But then they had the riots there in Beijing, and the negotiations really never did come to fruition.
The first day he went to Beijing, there was 400 or 500 students in the square, in Tiananmen Square. The last day he left, there was 350,000.
And Ribalta's starting to wipe the blood away now from his eye. The referee took a brief look at it. I'm sure the doctor's going to take a look at it in the corner after this round is over. And we are approaching the 30-second mark, 30 seconds left in round number 7 between these two highly ranked heavyweights, Tim Witherspoon and Jose Ribalta. Witherspoon having Ribalta in a little bit of trouble.
Witherspoon looking for the counter right, big right hand. Effective counter-punching by the two-time former heavyweight champion of the world, terrible Tim Witherspoon.
There you have a good look at the application to the cut of Jose Ribalta. That cut is in a very precarious position. And he may have another one above the right eye there, Pedro.
Looks like he's cut on the bridge of the nose and above the left eye, and he's got abrasions around the right eye. Right now, Jose Ribalta's in a lot of trouble, Chuck.
We're in round 8 here from the beautiful Kingdome in Seattle, Washington. Charles J. with Pedro Fernandez at ringside. On the call, Seattle Showdown 90.
Tim Witherspoon in complete control here, Charles. No question about it. Tim Witherspoon has controlled the action from the start, won every round. Witherspoon sucking a little wind. Of course, he is just a tad on the heavy side here. Both of Ribalta's cuts are now open and bleeding again. You can hear Mike the Bounty Hunter, the world-rated cruiserweight contender, behind us cheering for his buddy, terrible Tim Witherspoon. And Charles, I have to believe that Mike the Bounty Hunter is the best cruiserweight on the planet.
I was just going to say, Mike the Bounty Hunter would stand a pretty good chance with Tim Witherspoon in an actual fight. He just beat Pinklin Thomas and made Pinklin Thomas look rather silly there in the ring.
He sure did. Shut him out over 10 rounds. As Mike the Bounty Hunter said, I pitched a no-hitter.
Referee warning Ribalta, who is now bleeding a lot in the face. Lots of blood on his trunks as well as that of Tim Witherspoon. Ribalta riding a 9-fight winning streak, and that is in jeopardy here at the Kingdome.
Witherspoon just biding his time, looking for that big right-hand counter. That may have been the best combination Ribalta has yet thrown in the fight, body and head.
Ribalta showing the tools that make him a very viable heavyweight contender if he can get himself, together, get himself on the right track.
Well, he's got to be, I don't think he's aggressive enough. He's not assertive enough. He's allowing Tim Witherspoon to dictate the pace. Tim Witherspoon's a shorter man.
Witherspoon very disgusted with Ribalta, who just hit during the clinch and hit Witherspoon on the back of the head.
Witherspoon has a habit of when guys foul him, excuse me, Charles, when guys foul him, he hits them low back. So let's watch for a low blow coming from terrible Tim.
Rubbing that head up against Jose's cut. Another trick of the trade, maybe.
Very good trick of the trade.
We come toward the end of the round. Did that blow by Ribalta, that left hook, look a little low to you?
A little bit low. Ribalta is not punching effectively. Most of his punches now are slaps, except for that one combination earlier in the round.
And that is the round. And Ribalta will go back to his corner. They're going to try to stem the flow of blood.
Like a shark smells blood, Charles, I think Tim Witherspoon senses a kill here, and he's going to come out and attempt to take Jose Nino Ribalta out in this round.
Well, here we go with round 9. We're scheduled for 10 rounds between Ribalta and Witherspoon. We're coming to you from the Kingdom in Seattle. And this is a crossroads fight in the heavyweight division. The winner of this fight can really cement himself as a solid, legitimate heavyweight contender. The loser has to start all over again. And both of these fighters with winning streaks. Tim Witherspoon has won 7 fights in a row. And Jose Ribalta with 9 victories in a row. And one of those winning streaks is going to end tonight. And right now, it looks like it's going to be Ribalta's, unless he can come up with some monster punches in the last couple of rounds here.
He needs thunder in both fists, and I don't think he has it. He's looking to stay away. He really doesn't want to fight anymore. I just heard somebody say that. I don't think Jose really wants to fight anymore. Of course, there was a question early on in his career about his heart and determination. Jose Ribalta, Charles.
And of course, that was
laid to rest in the Tyson win.
It sure was a real gutty performance by Ribalta, and upon arriving home, all the local sports writers talking about what a great performance he put up. But I get the impression he may be trying to rest on those laurels, live off of that fight, when he really should be moving forward in the heavyweight division. This is a step forward against the Tim Witherspoon.
Big right hand by Ribalta did nothing to Witherspoon. Well, let's be honest. Since the Tyson fight, Charles, Ribalta has not looked good in any of his performances. I mean, super.
He's not looked good against journeyman opponents. You look at the Mark Young fight. Now, you say he lost. It was very close.
I thought he lost to Jeff Sims last year also.
Steve Zowski had him in a little bit of difficulty also. Leon Spinks really didn't seem to come to fight the night that he fought the former heavyweight champion. And then a couple of fighters, Jerry Hairston, Jack Castro, Johnny Williams.
Jack Johnson.
You know, fighters that are not household names even in their own households.
I'm surprised that Witherspoon isn't a little bit more assertive. He was told in his corner to go out and take Ribalta out. He came out with the intention, good left hook. Ribalta's hurt again. Good left hook. Caught his feet side by side. Might have been a little off balance.
And Witherspoon followed up with a decent body shot there.
A lot of blood coming from the face of Jose Nino Ribalta.
Now, from your vantage point, do you think that this fight is in any danger of being stopped?
Well, there's only a round left. It's probably about 3 minutes and 21 seconds left of action.
Doesn't look like it's blocking Ribalta's vision at all.
No, it is. In fact, most of the blood is coming from the cut on the bridge of the nose. Good exchange by 2 heavyweights.
Well, from where we see it, Pedro, Witherspoon is ahead. Ribalta's going to have 3 more minutes to win this fight against Tim Witherspoon.
Friends, it's the 10th and final round. Terrible Tim Witherspoon, Jose Nino Ribalta.
Here we go with the final round. Charles J. and Pedro Fernandez at ringside here at Seattle Showdown 90. Championship Boxing on Prime Network. Jose Ribalta and Tim Witherspoon. Ribalta definitely has to catch lightning in a bottle right here.
He sure does. Tim Witherspoon going for the knockout.
Don't let him get your face, Jose. Hit him in his body, man. Look how soft it is.
Poor strategy coming from the Ribalta corner. Charles, they're asking him to go to the body of Witherspoon. Ribalta's legs buckled there, but I think he was off balance.
And Witherspoon has basically taken the action to Ribalta, dominating the last part of this fight, probably the whole fight.
Well, I haven't given Ribalta a round yet. Tim Tim Witherspoon took both those shots from Ribalta, a left hook and a right hand. Didn't even flinch.
Nice stiff jab by Witherspoon there. Started Ribalta backing up.
Shot, baby!
We're in the 10th and final round here from Seattle Showdown 90. Decent left hook by Witherspoon, caught Ribalta. And again, he's against the ropes. You know, throwing those jabs out like that is not going to do Ribalta much good. He's got to throw some roundhouse punches. And he doesn't seem to have that attitude right now.
He's got to go for broken. He seems to be pity-patting, trying to pity-pat with Tim Witherspoon here. Maybe he's content in losing a 10-round decision.
We are inside the final minute here. Tim Witherspoon, a near shutout. Oh, and he just caught Ribalta with a good right hand in Ribalta's corner, and the blood came streaming down. Hit some photographers at ringside. Witherspoon is a little winded at this point. I'm sure he is not saddened that we are in the 10th and final round.
No, he's not. But it's been a good performance for Tim Witherspoon through 30 minutes of battle. He's looked good, taking some good shots.
Ribalta landed a left hook with nothing on it. We're in the final 10 seconds of this 10-round heavyweight bout. Jose Ribalta and Tim Witherspoon will go to the scorecards in this one. And we've got a near shutout decision for Tim Witherspoon on our scorecards, but Jose Ribalta really hung in valiantly.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 action-packed heavyweight rounds of boxing, I give you the scoring by judges as follows. Judge Paul Gibbs scores about 97, Witherspoon 93, Ribalta. Judge Tom McDonough scores about 95, Ribalta, 95, Witherspoon, a draw. And Judge Glenn Hamada scores about 98-91 by the winner by majority decision, terrible Tim Witherspoon. Witherspoon